All right, what's going on? It's Bobby Skinner talking Giants. This is the Week 14 film review. The most fun film review of the year, some have said. No, the Giants got their ass kicked. Or as Julian Love says, sometimes you get your ass beat. And they got their ass beat in this game. So that means this film review is going to be shorter than most. I think we're going to do like 16, 17 plays in this. But, you know, just some things that I think get cleaned up and we can make sure this is what happened. And I'm actually putting some... For as bad as games this is, I actually have a good amount of positive plays in here. So let's get into it. Make sure to like, subscribe. Hopefully next week will be a winning film review. I need to get back to a winning film review. It's been so damn long. It's been the Texans game. All right, first play. And I think this play tells a story about how teams are adjusting to the New York Giants offense. And this is play action, and this is the sack on that Andrew Thomas gave up. And I don't even blame Mike Kafka for this, because this is first, like second and long play actions we can talk about. Those can be an issue, third down play action. But first and 10 and, trusting Andrew Thomas on an island, those are the things that you should be able to do. But it's just the Giants have gotten so heavy into play action. They were running it over 50% of the time on dropbacks at one point in this season. Maybe still are. And watch this end. Josh Sweat. He just does not play they run at all. DJ is flipping his head and he's got 7 yards of depth. Let's watch these linebackers. Now, granted, the tight ends aren't selling run on this. Or at least Bellinger isn't. But they play their run keys and they are backing out. There is very clear coaching emphasis versus the New York Giants to not watch the ball for play flakes. Watch the tight ends. Watch what the receivers are doing. Because DJ's turning his head, and even if Thomas doesn't give up the sack, maybe you get this ball over to Bellinger, but that's still do we trust him on that? You throw it, check it down to Nick Vannett, which isn't bad. But just teams are not playing the play action, playing the run action for the Giants. And then 2 plays later, 3rd and 17, this is the sack Evan Neal gave up. Kind of shows how, and this is more so on 3rd down, because 3rd down you can't check down. But protection, I think, screwed them more in this game than it did any other game this year. I really do. I think this is the game where protection just screwed them. Because look, watch this Hodgins double move. Burns Bradbury. Now, DJ's going to Slayton on this, by the way. So, even if he does get protection, he's throwing this ball to Slayton. But that's still a good opportunity right there. This safety stays on us in the middle of the field. Sorry, not even the safety, just, this linebacker playing that deep middle. And DJ's getting ready to take a shot. Or at least I think he's going to take that shot to Slayton. And ends up being a sack. Let's see from the other. We talked about this a lot on the O-line report. Neal starts this rep out great, and then gets overextended, crosses his feet up, and leaves an inside track for Reddick. But watch DJ's eyes. He is playing the center field safety. But normally, if that safety is going to be honest, he's going to go to Slayton, not Hodgins. And if we can rewind and look back at it, it would be nice if you could sit here and be like, okay, now, you definitely got to throw this one to Hodgins. But at this point, you're throwing the ball to one of these two, and you just kind of hope you pick right. And more times than not, you're going to pick Darius Slayton on that. All right. Yeah, all right. We saw from this angle. Blah, 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 blah. Defense. First defensive play. So this is the play before the Devontae Smith touchdown. We got a 3rd and 10. Game 7-0. Going to give our offense the ball back with only down 7 after the second possession of the game for the Eagles. Wink kind of lines up in the 0 front. You have the two, you have the nickel corner Darnay here. Jason Pinnock down here, manned up with the tight end. You can kind of tell some type of game is happening because this safety is playing over top of this. So you would think the blitz is going to come from here. And the Giants love to run that nickel blitz. And that's exactly what they do. We're going to run a nickel blitz with Darnay Holmes. And then we're going to drop out these 3 middle players. We're going to drop out these 3 middle players. And we're also going to send Pinnock here, too. And really crash the edges. And the Giants turn into like a kind of like a 3-deep zone where McLeod bails. This is a good play call. Hurts even makes a good throw on this, but it's only a 3-yard completion. And you got 4th and 7. As you see, the offensive line, there's 5 up front, right? And the back's going to stay in. The back is scanning for anything back here. And we're setting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The back is scanning for anyone who comes through here. But you drop these 3 out. Leaves these 2 guys unoccupied. Gives Azeez a one-on-one with Lane Johnson. Nope, he's going to hit inside, try and get Pinnock free. Dex one-on-one with the guard. And then, okay, Kayvon one-on-one with the tackle. Bam, move inside. You get a free rusher with Darnay. Pinnock coming off the edge. You force Jalen Hurts outside the pocket. 3-yard completion, 4th down and 7. They're punting. No, they're going for it. That should be good. Now we're going to get the ball back with good field position. Just stop them from getting 7 yards on this play. Wink Martindale, you got 5 wide. We're pressed up here, but we know we're thinking there's something's going to happen, right? We got an outside linebacker on a tight end. Moreau. And if you're playing the Giants in press man and you're on the money down, who are you going to attack? In reality, it's going to be Darnay Holmes, especially when you have them lined up on Devontae Smith. He does exactly that. He wins this battle. But Love is over the top. He's that cover 1 safety. That single high safety. Makes a good break on this ball. Like he sees we're getting into this slot fade. We're playing inside leverage on this. And Love just takes a bad angle on it. Thinks this ball's going to be overthrown. I don't know, but go play on this. Go play this ball. And he just sits there and acts like it's going to fall down into his breadbasket. And, that's a huge difference between 7 points. See it from this angle. And you get good pass rush, too. Like Dex wins versus Landon Dickerson. Kayvon gets around the edge on this little stutter on Malata. Jalen Hurts gets wrecked on this. And Love just totally misplays this. Thinks he's got an interception. It's 4th down. You shouldn't even be going for the interception. That's a turning point for the game. All right, back on offense. I really like this play from Daniel Jones, and I like this play design from Mike Kafka. Giants are trying to work a little more quick game to, balance, their offensive line issues, but the fact that teams are playing with them run, so let's run some quick game. So this is the way the Giants run their stick, as they run it with the receiver in the back. So you see Slayton run this little stick route, and then Saquon's the flat. Saquon had 2 catches for 20 yards on the same exact concept. So to play off of that, though, you give Bellinger, you stack him up tight alignment on this, and you have two high safeties here, right? So it's a numbers game. We've got 2 for 2 right here. We got 3 for 3. We got 3 for 3. So this player, he's playing the flat on Saquon Barkley. So now this linebacker, this corner is not going to chase on this. They are in a zone. There is no type of zone coverage that is going to have this corner chase on this. So Slayton's a stick route. The linebacker knows that. He undercuts it, and you just have Bellinger slip on this little sit route. And DJ fires it in there. It's a short pass. But let's watch DJ work the pocket. Step up, manipulate. Bam, fired in there. First down. third down conversion. We'll see him work the pocket in this. And you see him give a little pump to get this linebacker to commit, right? Watch. It's very subtle. Right there. Just using his shoulders. Using his shoulders to manipulate that linebacker. See how he manipulates this linebacker? Point your feet. Get it in there for belly. Back on defense. Defense is essentially going to create points for the Giants offense. This sack by Azeez Ojulari, almost in the end zone. On the back end, we just have a basic cover 3 with the 5-man rush. So we have the deep third players right here, here, and here. We have the flats being played by Love, and then you leave zones unoccupied. McFadden does a good job bumping this up. Not giving a clean look. And then you get the pressure where that's I think where Jalen Hurts wants to go on this. Since McFadden's not playing the flats underneath on this, I think that's where Jalen Hurts wants to go. But just pressure, and we'll see how it happens. I mean, Kayvon makes this play happen. Kayvon had a really good game. Works that outside in rip. I mean, gets a nasty holding penalty and ends up getting called. And just you run these blitzes, and you get Azeez Ojulari on their worst offensive lineman at right guard. Working matchups. So now you have Lane Johnson, one of the best right tackles, if not the best right tackle in football, blocking a safety. And you have Azeez Ojulari on the guard. Ryder Anderson on the center. Dex on the guard. And I don't know how this isn't a split sack, to be honest. Like, I don't know how Kayvon doesn't get a credit for half sack on that, but it is what it is. And you see he's pissed off for holding, but it ends up paying off. And this is the touchdown created off of it. So they're going to get in play action. They're expecting Bellinger to be open on this, like on this block and release little whip route. They're expecting this to just totally be uncovered. And guess what? It's not. So you're not throwing this to Slayton. Hodgins on this little sit route on the block and release. Broken play. Jones by space. And good job by Hodgins on this. Play into it. Go. Release. Get open for your guy. Touchdown. So Hodgins, while it's not some great wide receiver, he has done good things for the Giants. Like, he's made solid plays and done little things right. Like, he does some good stuff at the release. At the he's a solid route runner. Again, he's not the fastest guy in the world. For a bigger guy, maybe it's time to give him some of those contested, targets downfield. I know he had one where he tracked it bad earlier in the game, but he's like done what's asked of him. He's not the answer to any Giants questions, I don't believe, besides depth. But he has done what's been asked of him. Here's an example of the teams knowing, like the Giants. If you guys watch these film reviews, and I would assume this is not the first film review you're gonna watch. What do we talk about? This mesh concept, right? We got the two drags, and then the sit route. Now this is the mesh in its most basic form. You have the rail route right here by the running back. That's technically the first read, even though the Giants have thrown it maybe one time. And Eagles just sit back and zone. So this player picks this part up. This player picks this player up. And then the linebacker underneath on this. So you see, this zone player is playing this zone player is playing this, and then you have them sitting on the sit route. So it's just an example of how teams are starting to pick up on what the Giants do. So you can add nuances to this, and the Giants have. This is just an example of how teams know that the Giants like to run mesh on third down. Where the Giants have done this, where you'll turn, instead of these guys meshing, you'll turn these into whip routes. So they'll show mesh, and they'll just, if they see zone, they'll whip out. Like they'll come out here. and that usually leads to, first downs, and it has led to first downs. You can also, if you want to go for a chunk play, turn this Richie James into a clear out instead of a speed out. Or you could just throw the speed out, even though that's not really part of that's the alert on it. That's not part of the progression. But if you want, like, hey, if these linebackers want to sit on this or nickel corners, you have Bellinger come across the field, and you could get your tight end wide open in space. So there's different ways to do it. It's still a great a concept I like. I mean, it's run at every level of the game because it works. All right, next play. What are we doing? Julian Love, bad game. Now the Giants, showing it from this angle. Julian Love, bad game. Now the Giants' run defense was really bad, mostly because of these guys not named Dexter Lawrence and this guy named Jalen Smith. They pulled on him all day, and D linemen were just washed down. They weren't able to jump gaps, and then Jalen Smith was just really bad. But this is actually probably Jalen Smith, like one of his better plays on this. Like, Eagles are running read option. They're bringing the tight end across the formation. So let's see. Jalen Smith plays this really, really well. Like, McFadden plays outside of it. Jalen's playing the quarterback. Kayvon's playing this. And, I think that's what Jalen Smith is taught. Maybe he's supposed to just stay in his gap, which is this gap right here. But this is Love's gap right here. And Sanders just hits it for a nice big chunk run. I mean, it's wide open. I mean, I could show you 20 bad examples of run defense, but I really don't feel like sitting here and doing that. On offense, again, play action. This is 3rd and 3. I mean, watch how teams are playing. I mean, watch how Brandon Graham plays this. Now, this ends up working out. But as soon as DJ on this naked boot is turning, we've got someone in his face. We got Richie, and it works out. But it's just an example of how play action is not working the same way it once did for the New York Giants. And the way teams are playing it. Like, they are not playing the run action on that at all. Last defensive play. Tay Crowder's in the game. Michael McFadden got injured. I saw people blame Tay Crowder for this, and I want to show them why they're wrong. So they're running a QB draw, motion the running back out. Now, this draw shouldn't work because Pinnock is taking the running back. So Jalen Smith should stay in the play on this. But Smith, and I know, he's maybe they're running some slants, wants to undercut some of that stuff. And he shows pass. If they run this draw, Tay Crowder, Kelsey's going to pull. Again, watch Justin Ellis does nothing. Tell me what Tay Crowder should do here, unless your expectation is him to just blow up Jason Kelsey, which, again, I would love for that to be. And I'm not going to be a Tay Crowder defender. I'm just a Tay Crowder's better than number 54 type guy, which is not saying much at all. But he plays the outside of this. If Jalen Smith is not running away from the play, he would be following this pulling center and playing right here. That's where he would be. And maybe it's not an easy walk-in touchdown for Jalen Hurts. Back on offense. Again, double move. Let's watch this. This is on a 3rd and long. He wins. And DJ's looking for him. DJ wants to pull the trigger on this. But we can't pick up a stun up front. And he's got to throw this ball to Richie James on 3rd and 18. Now, luckily, this did get to 4th and 4. It's the right decision by DJ. And this is the play before the Chris Myrick pick play, even though he shouldn't have been called for that. So this is the right read. but it just shows how protection is stopping them from. Shouldn't have stopped them from getting deep, but it's stopping them from getting deep maybe as much as they want. And they saw opportunities to get some double moves in this game, and they just were not able to protect up front to get them. And that's part of who they're playing too. I don't think you can use this Eagles game as any type of evidence to not do something, because this Eagles passing defense is, again, number one passing defense in the NFL. The number one sack team in the NFL now, I believe. Or either that or number one or number two. And then you have Brad. So this isn't not the game to use as your evidence to not do something. But you see 43 plays right into Evan Neal. I mean, this is a well-executed stunt, and you can do these on 3rd and longs. When you see that move, you got to be able to power down, and he just gets lit up. Glowinski actually does a good job on this. Feliciano doesn't come off. Hard ask. But Jones has to get this ball out to Richie James. Good job. Gets him the 4th and 4, but that could have been a big play. Here's a play that didn't work, but I really like. Actually, no, is that this? Oh, yeah, this is the play to Slayton. Sorry. So, Giants, if you watch these film reviews, they like this play concept called post wheel, and that's what the Giants run right here. But instead of posting, they are sitting on this because teams are playing it well and just leaving it open. Good job. Good job, Mike Kafka. And then they run stick on the front side of this. That stick concept we talked about? Like, look, a little stick route. Running back on the swing flat. It's not there. They cover it well. Well, guess what? We got 3 for 3 right down here. And then we've got 2 for 2 right here. And then these two safeties, right? So post snap. This safety's going to come play down here. This safety's still playing high. If they are covering this, what does that mean? Well, it means we got Darius Slayton coming across the field. And that is exactly what happens. I like that. I like that, building off of their stick concept. I really like that from Mike Kafka. Again, I don't think this is some bad Mike Kafka. I know people, and I blame Mike Kafka for a lot in the Commanders game. But I think this was not a bad Kafka game. Good job by DJ. Really good job by DJ on this. Sensing the pressure. Keeping his eyes downfield. I'm telling you, earlier games, like the first couple weeks of the season, remember? When stuff like this would happen, DJ would just put his head down and just run. And it's like, you got someone wide open. That's not happening anymore. Good job stepping up. Makes the throw. Big play for the New York Giants. And then this is a 4th and 8. Ends up not working, but I like the play concept. But just pressure kills him. I think this was the last play of the game for the starters on offense. So we're running post wheel. We're actually going to run the post wheel, but we're going to put Slayton out of the slot on it. Hodgins on the post. And they were going to go to Hodgins. Now, this should have been called for defensive holding. Even, I guess maybe not because he's being sacked already. But DJ's got his eyes on this. And you put Richie on the slit. Maybe DJ's eyes are on this. It's not 100% what you're able to tell. That's what DJ ends up trying to throw to when he's getting tackled. But look at those flat feet. You got these flat feet. Maddox is chasing with Slayton. And I'm pretty confident this is where DJ wanted to pull the trigger on this. But just pressure. We'll see it from the other angle. And you see he's got his eyes on it. Or, maybe it's on Richie. But I think if his eyes are on Richie, like, he's going to step up and pull the trigger now. Or maybe not. The pressure's pretty bad. They run this blitz. And it's just no chance. And the Giants lose that game. But guess what? It was always about Washington on Sunday Night Football. So let's win that game. Let's do a winning film review. Let's be comfortably thinking all right, we're in the playoffs. We got the tiebreaker over the Commanders. The Seahawks lost on Thursday night. Let's get us feeling good. Maybe the Lions will get, let's go Jets, beat the Lions. So I appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. See you on the next one, and hopefully it's a winning one. Let's go Big Blue.